Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is John Phillips, co-founder of Predictic, to discuss prediction exchanges on political and financial events. John, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks. And it's so interesting, basically can make a market on almost anything.
Boy, isn't that sort of cool? Because you've got this ability now to make a market around events. And events, in the case of Predicted, are principally political events, economic events of certain types. But the ability to create markets around that and then have the price discovery and the likelihood of the event occurring, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is remarkable. So tell us how Predictic works and how it can be applied to investing decisions.
Sure. So Predicted is structured, the trades are structured as $1 winner-take-all contracts, where the price of the contract reflects what the market thinks the odds are of that event occurring. So, for instance, will Biden be elected in 2020? The price of that contract, which pays out $1 if it occurs, will reflect the odds. And you could take either side of that bet. And you can purchase up to $850 worth of those $1 winner-take-all contracts in any of the contracts that we have.
So let's walk through a couple of the charts here. You have the presidential election, Senate, the president and the Senate, and then of course the Electoral College map. Tell us what you're seeing on each one of these.
So you're putting up the first chart there?
The president, yep.
Okay, so what this is really kind of interesting because, you know, who will win the 2020 presidential election? So this starts in June, of course. The market been open for a while. It starts in June. It shows that Biden consistently enjoyed. He was over 50% or 50 cents in terms of the odds that would occur. And there was a real change in late September and October in terms of a drop in Trump's likelihood of winning and an increase, a commensurate increase in Biden's winning.
And if we look at the next one here, this of course is the Senate race and seeing if it'll flip.
There we go. So in terms of control of the Senate after the 2020 election, it's referred to as a blue sweep or a red sweep, but clearly the blue sweep it looks like it's what's going to happen. And again, that since June, the possibility of a blue streak has been there, has consistently been there, with the exception of one point in late August, at which point it temporarily shifted, and then the Democrats bounded back, and there was confidence that the Democrats were going to actually win control of the Senate in the 2020 election. This, of course, has great impact for sort of economic outcomes, things like healthcare, Supreme Court appointments in the future, and taxation, for instance. So this is really important to traders if the Democrats are going to control the Senate as well as the White House. And the odds would indicate that's going to happen.
And then if we took a look at our final one here, this is the Electoral College map.
Sure. So on the Electoral College map, I mean, the Democrats are showing right now, the market is projecting 305 Electoral College votes for the Democrats. They, of course, need 270 to win. But you know, the Electoral College map it has been somewhat fluid, but it looks like it's being locked in. And of course, you know, there's early voting, so some of these outcomes in some of these red and blue states are already foregone conclusions.
And John, you had mentioned some of the trends that you've seen from late summer into September, October is where you started to see the potential turn to blue or Biden picking up some steam. But if we took a look a little bit longer term, how does this compare to other elections?
Oh, well, so it's so interesting in that regard as well. You know, if you went back to January, it was hard to find people who, you know, the odds were decidedly that the Republicans were going to retain control of the White House and the Senate. But that's not what has happened. And there's still 2 weeks left before the election, and that's a lifetime in politics. But as the date approaches, as more people are voting before the November 3rd with absentee ballots or walk-in voting, you know, it becomes tougher and tougher to see how there's going to be an outcome different from a Democratic sweep.
All right, John, this truly is fascinating indeed. And of course, we'll be tracking this each Monday with Predictic. Thanks so much for joining us on Trade Talks. And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.